Everyone, this is Trend Follow the Side, and it's that time of the week. Today, we'll plan for this week. We'll see some of the zones that we are interested in, and also some of the bias and their reasoning behind. Uh, I will also explain my reasoning because I don't think for me it's important having just showing the trade ideas. What is important to understand is the reasoning behind it, so that you can come up with it in your own time also. So I'm here to share the knowledge in this video. Other than that, I hope you had a good week. We killed it with the bias last week. I said I'm very bullish biased, bearish biased on JPY. JPY should act weak, and bullish biased on the names like USD JPY, Euro JPY, etc. So I did mention this particular area, and we bounced beautifully from here. I'm still in this trade. I closed one other trade. This I commented regularly on Twitter around this. I took this trade and added on the position. I exited here somewhere. I think it can still further go up. I just felt like I'm being greedy, and I was in USD so I just took 3 hour in this. And right now, the other one is at 2.5 hour or 3 hour. Point being, like, I was pretty happy with last week. So let's try to repeat it. Uh, I hope that even if you have not watched the last week video, I would really recommend it because I really believe knowledge is power, and understanding the reasoning behind these biases really helps. So let's start with this week. Before we start, if you have been here, we look at the news. So with the news, as you can see, Monday itself starts with CHF, which is quite interesting to be honest, which means we will see three actions, most probably CHF, Euro, and GBP, because CHF can even affect those. But CHF, and then you get NZD as employment change and unemployment rate on Tuesday, then USD FOMC rate statement, then GBP rate statement. So, whoa, like big rate statements here. Okay, and then I think other than that, you have CAD employment change, and then CPI on Friday, which is again interesting because this will help JPY help, or affect, I should say. But point being, feels like the three most important one would be GBP, USD, and CPI, which also makes me think, will USD names drop around till Wednesday? Uh, I have a feeling that there is a slight possibility of that, but it's not clear right now technically on the chart. Sometimes it's damn clear. I do feel GBP is more clear in terms of what can happen and what can happen after this, and I will explain that. So before going into the trade ideas, we have to understand what is the bias and all. With that in mind, I think GBP should act strong at the initial part of the week. That's my bias in the initial part of the week. There are a few reasons here. One is if you see, if you just look at the futures chart, you have a daily demand here, which is not fresh, but which has been supported before. So now you're in that daily demand. Within that daily demand, you have a 12-hour demand too, which was very clean. Again, it is not fresh. I did take this move here uh, last week, but now we are in an area where I think it should bounce. The problem is this 12-hour block, right? So once it goes above this block, then I will feel more comfortable. Having said that, I would really recommend whatever is trade you are trying to do with respect to USD names, either do it before or after the FOMC statement, because there is a slight probability. Uh, like, I don't know, like, I feel like there is a probability you can. you can count it either ways. Like you can count this or you can see continuation. And it is confusing right now. So I think the price action after that would really matter. And I can explain my reasoning on that too. But right now, what I think, at least the initial part of the week, I think there is a good possibility of upside. Now, one thing I mentioned was around the futures chart, but also if you see a name like GBP CAD, right? On weekly time frame, it's in this block, right? So I think there is a slight possibility that it continues upside. I mean, reverses to the upside. You will also see on the monthly, it's clearly has a long way, took the liquidity here, so possibility of going upside. So that's why I think GBP would at least initial part of the week should show strength. Later part of the week, my confusion is how will it handle with this daily supply? And these zones are important. So I think you can see this move. And after that, will it do this or this? Uh, uh, I don't know. I feel like I want to watch the price action there. But I do think you're seeing gonna see this move. So that's GBP CAD, right? And the same signal is not signal per se. It's not, this is not the one I'm planning to trade, especially GBP NZD. But what I want to show is why I think GBP can act strong initial part of the week because this kind of structure means you can see a move like this. So that's where I think there can be, it can go down first, right? NZD can act, what should I say? NZD can act strong, and then you have a candle here, right? Like this. That's what I see on GBP. Many names are setting up in this formation. Similarly, if you see on this, let's say we go down, there would be a weekly fair value gap. So you should see an up move here. So I think there is a yes, you have a block here, but the trend has been very strong. So right now I'm not going into trade ideas. I'm just explaining my reasoning why I think GBP, at least in the initial part of the week, should act strong. So those were my reasoning on GBP. That I think initial part of the week it should act strong. The major names that we will care about is again I think there is a possibility of risk, still risk on, sorry, risk on, yeah, but it would not be as strong as it was last week. If that is technically according to the data I'm seeing, and obviously logical also. Many times you see whenever there is a big move, the market needs to rest, right? So I do think JPY, I do think that it still can be risk on, but it's not as clear as it was last week. As I mentioned last week, it was very easy to plan last week. This week, I wouldn't say it was tough, but also the data shows that there can be some choppiness. So, with respect to JPY, it has shown clear weakness, and I think it can continue that. But having said that, I don't believe that it would be as simple as, oh, the next candle should go down. If it happens, great, right? Like if it gap down completely here, then I can imagine that maybe. But I don't think it would be as simple as let's go down. The reason I say that is because the monthly is still very strong. So most probably, even if it comes down, you're testing this, it has tested this previous month high, this zone max, it can go here. So I don't think it would be as simple as, okay, let's go down here, right? So that's why I don't think, ideally, I think like maybe most probably it should come here, but I don't think it would be as simple as, okay, the next candle would be red. Now, if it happens, let's say, so the scenario here is there are two scenarios, right? One is the next candle is this way, right? So like this. And the other is it bounces and then comes down. So then the candle will be this, right? So if I want to play this, I would let the price action first show me the hand. So let it come here, and then if it bounces, then I will short it. And then you can honestly, like, it's not about marketing as much as I don't know what will happen. So if you need updates on that, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I will point out what I think at when the price action reveals its hand. But right now, what I am planning is I will let it come here and then short it. So in here, there's a beautiful daily supply, right, with a blocker. So there is a possibility that it just comes down from here. There is a possibility that it comes down from here. Why do I say that? Because in here, there's a very beautiful 1 hour supply. So if you want to scalp, then you will take this trade. I usually don't scalp. I try to avoid it because it's just not my forte. So I would most probably like to enter in these regions. This is a high probability area because you have a blocker here, plus you have a clear daily supply. Now within that, my favorite zone would be anywhere above this, right? So if the price action comes in this region above this line, I will short it. As simple as that, guys. So that's where my primary focus would be on JPY pairs. Of course, plan changes and all depending on the price action during the week, but right now I'm focusing on this region on JPY. I would let it bounce a little before shorting it. Now, of course, if I think, oh no, let's short it, I would let a big candle show up and then I will short it here. Right now, I'm not at a place where I can be like, oh, let's just short it here. Because I think it's not as clear as risk off is not as clear as it was last week. So I think the first day can be this, then I would not be surprised that you just bounce all the way here, right? And then you continue down. Uh, so I will have to look into the price action is in terms of zones. My favorite is here. If you want to scalp, then there is a zone here, right? Which can cause this move down. So I that's kind of it. Yeah, if it comes here, then you can there was a 4 hour zone which can be used again, but it is not pressed, so it would be low quality trade. My highest would be this one for scalping, and then ultimately that one. So that is JPY. On CHF, I don't have much as such but because there's news, I'm looking at it. What I would love to see. So this is what I was saying, right? So CHF has shown its hand a little bit, which basically means it's also in a territory where you can say that it's off risk on, sorry, I'm my bad. Risk on. So CHF should also show weakness. And the good part about it is right now there is a second candle. So this was a down close candle, and now there is a second candle which has shown weakness. So we can basically say, oh, the chances of reversal is low, right? So now the hand has shown. I would like to see now, will it happen or not? I don't know. It coming here in this zone, and then CHF is such a good shot, basically. So that's what I would be waiting on CHF pairs. I would let it come here. And this kind of matches with JPY like a bounce. So I like this story. If it happens, it would be a very high probability trade. So that's what I'm looking at CHF and JPY. So my first thought process is uh, let's consider risk on, right? So JPY and CHF, where JPY I would give higher priority, but point being like whatever price action happens, either on CHF it comes here, on JPY it comes here. If both happens, oh, awesome combination, right? Now the next one I'm biased to the I'm bullish on is Australian dollar pairs. Now let me explain you my reasoning on that. So let's try to start with AUD USD, Australian dollar USD. You have equal highs, okay. You have an up close candle, okay. Now, what is interesting for me is AUD US, NZD USD. Just before the end of the week on Friday, let's say you don't have this candle, so you were pretty much going down, 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 down. Now, immediately you made sure to close above the weekly previous week low. Now, you can call it, oh, it bounced from FPG. Yes, but you made sure that the weekly candle doesn't go. So before that last day, I'm not sure how to show it here, but maybe let me show it. Okay, let me convert this to daily. Yeah. So just before the end of on Friday, you were here, right? So here means why isn't it show? Is it same names? I don't know why is it not showing here. But here means almost here. So you were making a down close weekly candle, and you were like, no, I don't want to. And immediately it bounced up and recovered the weekly low. Basically, you made sure that the week doesn't close, have a down close weekly candle. And all Australian dollar USD already up close, right? Same logic. So this is definitely a very strong upside for Australian dollar and NZD USD. Similarly, AUDCAD has an up close candle, and NZDCAD did the same thing. If you see, the lower part is this line, this one, and you just closed above it, guys. Just closed above it. What does that show? That they didn't want to close below the weekly low. Yes, you can say ICT World FPG bounce, but what I'm also trying to point out is they made sure not to have a weekly down close candle. So that's why I'm very bullish bias to Australian dollar and NZD USD. And that's why when you think about it, I cannot very easily say, okay, let's this week also, sorry, this week let's go reverse. So basically, whenever Australian dollar, NZD, and bullish bias, I cannot say let's be bullish biased on JPY and CHF also. So technically also I can, so fundamentally also I cannot, and technically as I showed on the charts, I do feel JPY is gonna show weakness, continue showing weakness, and Australian dollar and NZD will continue showing strength. Now, having said that, I, due to the fight between monthly and weekly charts, I do believe that maybe this may be the last move up. I don't know, or down, whatever. Point being, that will only reveal next weekend, but we'll see. I accordingly that what will happen. But right now, this week, this is my theory, and this is my point on this week, that I do think JPY will still show weakness. Maybe end of the week can change or something, but generally we will at least get one move out of that. And uh, this NZD and Australian dollar should definitely show strength. Oh, other thing I forgot to mention. Look at this NZD CAD, equal highs here also, right? So you have pretty much, look at this trend line. You have pretty much clear notion where you can say, oh, it should go up. NZD CAD equal highs, NZD USD clear trend line. Uh, where did these go? Euro CAD? No, odd USD. I think there was, oh yeah, equal highs. On AuDCAD, I couldn't find anything, but yeah, okay. So I hope this made sense, right? So these are some of the biases for this week, and the reasoning. And now it's time to look at the favorite part, at least my favorite part, trade ideas. So sometimes the draw of liquidity is clear, sometimes not. In this case, we'll go into the trade ideas, but before we go there, we'll start with DXY because that affects everything. So DXY I did mention last week, right? That I will go long USDJPY when it comes here because I think it can bounce. So we nailed that run. I'm so proud of that. But now it's the question is what will happen now? Again on that front, right? We have a weekly up close candle, right? Yeah, look at that. Weekly up close candle. Overall, according to the fight between monthly and weekly charts, DXY will start acting weak, but I don't think it's gonna be this week. maybe later part of the week, but I don't think it's gonna be. But again, as I always say, like we'll think about later next weekend. But this week, I'm bullish biased on DXY. So I do think it can go up. It's not one of my favorite charts right now because again, as I said, there is a fight between other names. It's not like clearly DXY will act bullish on every name, but if you want to play any USD names which should go up, I would just try to go into JPY or CHF names. Maximum there is a combination where this up close candle can really help you on Euro USD, and I will show that chart later. So as I said, so let's clean this up a little bit. I would not do it if I think about it. So right now you are in this daily zone. So will it continue going down with this kind of candle? Will it go down with this kind of candle? The chances are less. And otherwise, also, if you think about it, you are bouncing from a daily demand, sorry, daily fair value gap. So that's good. Instead, what I would think is, let's say it comes back here, then you can go long USD and CHF. So let me while I'm at it, I will add an alert here also. So that's what I think. I would not be surprised with this up close candle that we test this region, like the upper part of weekly fair value gap. At least my point would be there's a gap here that I have it marked. Let's come here. Or I also showed in the past there was a 4 hour okay, so that matches perfectly, right? So there's a 4 hour supply. So at least I think it should come here, DXY. So I think the at least this week, I think something like this can happen where it can come in this region. So that's DXY chart for you. Now let's go with the trade ideas. Again, as I said, I think or Australian dollar pairs are the most important one this week. Australian dollar and NZD. They are showing clear bullish structure where right now, obviously, I think, sorry, the most important would be Australian dollar JPY and which one was the other one? And Australian dollar or NZDJPY or Australian dollar CHF, NZDCHF. I will open those charts. I'm sh not sure why these are not added here. But point being, let's go with these. Before I go to Euro Australian dollar, I want to show Euro USD and it will make sense. So within Euro USD, there is a beautiful uh, combination here. So this has a down close candle. So if this happens, it would be a great shot. So when Euro USD comes here, maybe it can come and there are equal lows here. So what I think can happen is maybe it can come go test this region, go up, then come down, or ideally, I would like it doesn't even go down. It just comes here with equal lows here and then comes down. Now, when it comes here, right, guys, I would focus a lot on this Euro Australian dollar also. And more importantly, more than Euro USD, I feel comfortable with Euro Australian dollar just because if you see the price action, you have continuous weekly weakness. So wherever it is at that point, I would like to short Euro Australian dollar when Euro USD comes there. Okay. Now, why do I say that also? With Euro Australian dollar, you have multiple zones which can be used to short. So one is this. There is a 12-hour zone here, and it can go down from here. Maybe it's just an initial scalp, right? The next one is where did that go? Yeah. So this region here, but this overlaps with this. So you have a level on top of level, and when I take an entry here, my stop loss needs to be here, and that's a big stop loss. That will not help with my risk management. So ideally, I want it to come here or here somewhere, right? Sorry, not there, but here or here, right? So ideally, my favorite case here is that it comes, it breaks, where's this? It breaks this almost equal lows, right? And comes here. And then it's Euro USD also goes there, and then I take a shot. That's the most ideal version. But like I said, all these combinations are matching with weekly candles. So even if I take this shot, like it enters here, and I take this shot and let it come down, I will, I don't mind if it matches with Euro USD. So for example, let's say price action comes here and Euro USD comes there, then instead of putting stop loss all the way here, I'll still enter and let's say put a stop loss here, right? And the target then that case would be something like this or even below. I will do trailing stop loss, right? But that's the combination I want for this to become high probability. With respect to GBP odd, Australian dollar, I feel so sad I missed this trade this week. It was so simple. Uh, So the idea is the same, right? We have a weekly down close, but I like Euro Australian dollar more than GBP Australian dollar. In this case, the daily candle makes sense, and in this case also the I forgot one part which was explaining this part where there are two shorts here. I showed on the lower time frame, but on daily, why this is a high combination is is because if the price action comes here, then you are in this, where's the market? You're in this daily supply, right? And this is also a daily supply, right? This one is more clear. So ideally, what you would like to see is something like it comes here and you take this stop loss and you enter somewhere here. Most ideal version. So that's why I don't know, to improve my risk to reward, I would let Euro USD come to that zone. Otherwise, as a limit order, I will just set it here somewhere. Anyway, so now I like G, as I said, same combination. When it comes here, I will take a shot. So either Euro USD comes there and all, or the GBP Australian dollar and Euro Australian dollar comes here together. But if you ask me which shot I will take Euros pair shot more than GBP. I hope that makes sense. Now, with respect to Australian dollar USD, what I really like here, there is a downside and there is an upside. Because DXY has an up close, it's not one of my favorite trades, but uh, what I would like to see is if I get this option, then why not? I would love to trade it. But why is it not great? Because you have a down close and all that I explained, but also on top of that, you see this choppy action here. So there's not like a very clean demand because every demand would have a level on level or wouldn't be fresh. But if you ask me, I would, there is an 8 hour demand here. So I would let it come into this extreme zone and then take it. If by any chance you have a strong pullback, I would consider that manipulation and take this. So my entry would be somewhere in this region. But that will only and only happen if uh, if it ha like if it happens on Monday, basically. Like I want an immediate strong reaction. Or again, I will use Australian dollar USD to basically go with shorting euro. If the price action comes here, then I will rather short euro Australian dollar or GBP Australian dollar, names like this. My first priority would be these or the JPY names, and for that I will use Euro USD or AUD USD. So yeah, so now this NZD USD, this one is a little better. So here it's more cleaner. Within this, what I really like is this 8 hour demand. Again, it's not fresh, so I would like to see where it goes, but here, something like this. So if it comes here, that's what I think can happen. Uh, you have a bullish engulfing, you broke this. So here, but keep in mind that there is a weekly. What was the okay? So it was that. Yeah. So the weekly level. So the why I like this one is because clearly made higher high, right? Made lower low here. So I think when it comes here, I'm expecting a high low here. And this whole move happened when DXY tested FVG. So I think this one is clean. I think you can see something like this. Overall, Australian dollar USD is more powerful than NZD USD. But I think if this moves happen in the initial part of the week, then initial part of the week, I think Australian dollar would act weaker than NZD USD. Now, uh, Australian dollar CAD, there wasn't as something very clean, but I had it marked because I wanted to show few things here. One is it formed a clear daily demand, right? It's more clear, I think. Okay, so in both cases, it formed a clear daily demand. I prefer Australian dollar CAD daily demand more than Australian dollar USD. In here, what I think is you should see something like this, right? One thing, the reason I also have this chart is when it comes here, you can definitely play upside. I'm not saying that. But in this region, when it comes here, please just put your stop loss to break even or trailing stop loss because this region is where we will set our safety mode. You know, we will stop risking money after this and or be very careful with the trade because you have a monthly supply here, right? So I'm not saying, oh, short here. Right now is not the time to short because what can happen is it can just break out, then maybe come down or hold this and go up. You don't know that. But what your job is to know about this zone, and once it breaks this or touches this, at least put a stop loss to break even. And once it breaks this and all, then trailing stop loss, your call. But all I wanted to point out is this is where you start, you know, thinking, basically being careful. Uh, so NZDCAD, as I showed again, so right, I think this is a good chart in the sense that I don't know why there's no weekly. Okay, it is. Okay, yeah, that it didn't close below weekly low. Again, this is not a clean daily demand right now because but I do think it's a potential daily demand. So what you can see is something like this. If you look in there, there's a 4-hour demand which showed strength. So if it comes again, I think this can go up. Again, I think your first priority still should be Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar names. And within that, I would prefer Euro Australian dollar the most and GBP or the Euro Australian dollar the most basically. And secondly, JPY names. So or JPY and NZDJPY. So within that, let me show or JPY. So with this, again, you have a weekly up close candle. Again, if Australian dollar USD comes in that zone, uh, or yeah, so that's where I would take uh preferably take this guy or JPY because I do think JPY has a higher probability. The only thing I like about USD is obviously that it does have great equal low highs. So with respect to this, I like this 4-hour zone here. I really do like it, but it just match out perfectly well. My concern always is when this kind of candle is there, that if you enter here, your stop loss is very short. So I would just recommend here that when you enter in this region or this region, whatever, just give some buffer, right? So always give some buffer. I think in this there is a possibility that you see a move to this daily high. I think so. Here, all I would suggest is I think when it comes down, the good thing about this is it's it's so covered. Can I zoom in? It will test this most probably daily low or will be very close to it, right? So what I would suggest is, because you never know, it comes down and test the daily FVG, right? So what I would suggest is giving some buffer like this. So if the daily FV, if it wants to test the daily low, this will map out perfectly. And as I said, it can come either here or here. So you have a good 3.53 RR. So that's my plan on Australian dollar JPY. Again, as I said, uh, I do think JPY should at week this week also. It would not be as clean as last week, but I think it should be. So NZDJPY, same theory. What I like is about NZDJPY that uh, it broke these equal highs that we had on like these ones. But I feel like whenever things break equal highs, there may be a pullback. So within this, there is a possibility that again it tests the equal. Uh, you see this, like, ah, yeah, here. So there are equal lows here, right here, perfectly equal lows. So what I would like to see is it comes down. Mostly, I would love this if this happened, guys. So you see this 4-hour demand here, this. If it tests this, this would be perfect, perfect, perfect condition. So I think that would be ideal condition that I would wait for on NZDJPY. Okay. So that's it, guys. Mainly, I don't want to confuse with anything else on Forex chart. One thing I wanted to point out on NQ and ES is I did mention in our plans that I really like these zones here, way back, I think, uh, here and here. We are reaching that condition where ES is weaker than NQ. So I'm debating, should I short it or not? Uh, right now the move is, I didn't like the risk to reward on NQ, so I didn't short it. And I'm thinking why, yeah, I didn't like it because, so this is how you should watch for price action, right? Just as an example. So I said this zone is important. Let's say I want to short here. Firstly, my reasoning of not shorting was like I want E and ES to come in this zone because I wanted both of them to close the gap to increase my probability, and there's a reasoning behind it. The video will become longer. But point being, now this is a block, right? So now if I short it here, I know it's gonna come here and most probably bounce. So my probability is low. So I wanted it to make a bigger move so that if I short even till here, then I can be like, okay, 3 RR. That's the idea, right? So on ES, that also is my idea. Now, one thing I wanted to tell you guys here is both of these have these up close candle, right, on weekly. So you also have a chance to go long. So I will keep an eye in this region and in this region. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I selected a second thing. And in this region, when it comes down, I will take it. If you ask me my favorite combination here, favorite combination, then I would really love for it if I can just delete this. Okay. Am I pressing wrong button? I don't know what's happening, but is area, this area, if it can come here, I think it can go back, it can bounce. In NQ, it will be this. So obviously, I will wait for NQ to go long rather than ES, just because I think NQ has been acting stronger than ES in my opinion. I don't know what's happening. Why is it not deleting? It's irritating me. Anyway, so that's what I think. You may get an opportunity to go long here also. Ideally, you would want ES to test the gap and this guy come here. So if it comes here, I will take a long on NQ. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for this video. I hope this helped. I hope you're learning something. I hope these are helping you. All the best for your trading this week, guys. Enjoy, stay safe. Bye bye.